A life lost far too soon, under circumstances still unclear. But what we do know is chilling. The brutal murder of 26-year-old Radhika by her own father. And to help us unpack the many layers of this deeply disturbing case, we're joined today by someone who needs no introduction, Dr. Kiran Bedi herself. Let me start by saying, today I speak to you not just as a journalist, but as a woman myself. Your blog, He Forgot That He Raised a Champion, has struck a chord with many, but I think it's important we don't just stop at being moved. What you've written is a wake-up call, and right now, silence isn't just dangerous, it's complicit. Now, you've long been a symbol of women's empowerment yourself. Your journey continues to inspire not just women in India, but across the world. And what really stood out in your blog was the emphasis on a support system, something Radhika seems to have so tragically not have. She lacked it the most. It's disturbing that we are here in 2025, in the 21st century, a time when we've made incredible strides in technology, education, access to opportunity, but mindsets in so many parts of our society remain stuck in the past. And we're still having to fight this fight, which is both heartbreaking and urgent.
Yes, thank you. Thank you. Yes, it was a cry. My heart cried out, and the blog came out of me. So for me, a purge, and also release of anguish within. And what did I see? I saw today we are at crossroads. We are at crossroads. And what are those crossroads? Exactly where the father was. Why did he shoot her? Because she had now gone out of control, of his control. He had gone out of his control. He made her a champion. Yeah? He forgot he made her a champion. He forgot that she was playing in wonderful tennis shots, hitting so well, traveling around the country, and that he was accompanying her. But she also was complaining that there are too many controls and that she's feeling suffocated. And she was already having problems and arguments with her father because it was a suffocating control. On one hand, he's making her shine and make visible in the world today as a tennis champion. What resonated with me was tennis, because that was a common game I played as a girl, and she was now playing, and that she was stroking so well. When I saw her practicing, I found it a perfect stroke. We have really lost a very good tennis champion, actually, in her, a very versatile girl. So the problem here is father was at crossroads on modernity, needs of the day, and yet what his legacy is. Our legacy is still in conflict. Legacy is the girl is not, there are red lines for girls. There are no red lines for boys. But there is a opening for girls and there's a red line for girls. So I think there was a conflict with him. His mind was in conflict. Why? Because his friends were in conflict. And the company he was keeping and the taunts impacted him. And he was not clear-headed. He was a confused man. He was in confusion. He was in contradiction. He was in conflict. On one hand, he wanted the girl of the modern times playing tennis and being a champion. And yet he wanted a girl to be under control within red lines. And now she was breaking those red lines. And he couldn't take it because now the taunt started to come of all these, whether it was a dress or whether it was a versatility or whether it was having friends with the boys. No, that's now normal for any girl who's mobile, who's educated, who's playing. She plays now. She is a part of a whole. She's not separate girl, boy. She's now one of the community, one of the society. That was not acceptable. That's why I'm saying today we are at crossroads. Indian society is at crossroads. It educates a woman, marries her off, still with a hefty dowry. And yet, when she suffers domestic violence back home and she tells her father, I'm not happy here, and the father still says, adjust karo, and she goes about committing suicide. So she's educated, she's professional, she was wealthy, and yet did not have an independent mind to say, enough, I'm going out because the house is locked. So her parental home is no more open. That's a crossroad. The parental home yet was now saying, enough, we've already married you off. See, India is at crossroads. It's educating its daughters, but not giving them the equality with the boys. Of course, responsibility, sense of responsibility has to be there. Responsible behavior is good parenting. But
Right.
so many controls, suffocating controls is not good parenting.
Absolutely, absolutely. And you know, when you speak of crossroads, we know there's no lack of information. That's what I began with. People have more access than ever to ideas, tools, platforms that promote progressive thinking. And yet, girls and women still find themselves with that red line, the constant need to prove their worth, not just to societies, but unfortunately to their own families, and to showcase that no, we are responsible at the same time. That constant need to do so. That is what's so heartbreaking here. Radhika's parents herself helped her become the star athlete she was. So why was that support so conditional? That is what the question is. Was it her father's male ego? Was it just a matter of honor that we're speaking of here for him? That was so important.
It's a legacy. It's a DNA. It's a legacy. It's a civilization. See, we earlier girls were not in conflict. They were educated reasonably and married. And then there was no conflict. She changes her name. She adjusts. There's a dowry, and she conceives, and she starts becoming a mother very soon. She's settled. And she accepts her next home. She's a migrant, but she doesn't consider herself a migrant. She says one home to another. Today, the woman says, no, I don't want to be a migrant. I have a life of my own. I'll choose my own identity. I'm now educated. I have a name of my own. How dare you change my name? I'll keep my maiden surname and maiden other. So today you have three. Even girls coming in the twilight zone. You have a twilight zone, a confused zone, a diffident zone, a not confident zone, and little scared zone. Saying, can I do it or can I not do it? It all depends on the kind of support system she has from behind. The same support system which has propelled her to become visible, is that support system consistent, convinced, confident, proud of it, dignified, or is that support system is scared? What will the others say? Are we right? Are we sure? Are we doing the right thing for the girls? There is a conflicting zone. Earlier, there was no conflict. That's why you remember, earlier only one option was there for the girl, dowry death. She would burn herself on the stove. Now, where are the burn stoves? There are no burn stoves. Now, these are the issues. And now the parents who given them the visibility do not know what to do, where to go. So they fall a trap sometimes to social conventions, the social culture, the milieu, and their own age-old friends who were living in the past. He's not confident that what he's done for his daughter is the right thing, and he would look up to. That's a key. So I think we are in a twilight zone. That's why we're having these both sides. One thing in the past and something in the. So here's is a father, but something for the future and the present and something in the past. And that's why he used. But you see, I think the mother too is in the past zone.
Absolutely.
Where's the mother? Where's the mother in this? Where's the support system? Because if he's having control, mother is also very weak. I believe the investigation. The mother is not standing up for her daughter to say, why are you doing this? Let her be. She can have friends. She can be creative. She can have these videos. She can have an academy. She can have her own earning. She can have her own name. And she can have visibility and media exposure. Why not? I don't see this. So she had nobody. So she was up. While she's made to fly in the sky, they want the string behind. See, it's like flying a kite and not letting it go.
You have your freedom, but on our terms. That is basically how it is for them.
No freedom. It's not freedom. It's visibility.
It's visibility. Yes. Yes. And you know, there is one line from your blog, while very truly you've said that social institutions at this given point, it's in a shifting pattern. It's seeing shifts in its patterns, and there are lines that are quite blurred because of that. But one line from your blog, I would really like to quote here. You said, often girls surrender not out of weakness, but to maintain peace. And that is to survive. Would you say here, as you have yourself picked up, what was the mother doing? What was her role in this entire situation? Would you say this is where the mother's role comes in, or rather this is what reflects of where the mother was?
Where mothers and fathers are one strongly behind the girl, she flies. But when there's a contradiction in the house, or there's one quiet and one silent, you have something like this where she's saying she's feeling suffocated. Now, in that suffocation, what does she do? Girls, some will rebel, some will leave, some will find something other ways. Here, before she found a way, see, she was already trying to find a way. She wanted to go overseas. She wanted to travel. She says it's very suffocating. Why? Because there was nobody at home. There was mother and father had united, mother in silence and father in violence.
Mother in silence and father in violence. In fact, when we speak of the father here, and as I mentioned a little while ago of male ego, it is unfortunate how society in itself comes together to think a certain way, even if it is about our own loved ones. Now the father is coming out to say that he wants death for himself as well. It is remorse. Would you say firstly it's remorse, and remorse kicking in a bit too late for changing or going back to whatever has been done already? And more importantly, the very factor that comes into play, that society, his own friends, his own family members were making fun of the father for living off his daughter's money. That is where the society still stands.
Society is also forward and backward. That's also in conflict. Society is also modern artificial intelligence, and society still bullock cart somewhere, or the Tongas. So you have both kinds of society still. So it's like if that's where you fall into the trap, that you and think that's safer because that's your friends, that's your kin, that's your clan, that's your community, that's that's your relatives. So I think that's where you fall a prey. In this case, father was a very, very emotionally angry man. I think he was pretty unstable. To my mind, I think he was emotionally unstable. And very bad that he had a weapon. He should have had never been given had a licensed weapon, this kind of attitude. But the question here is, he was in conflict with himself and in a fit of anger and seething anger. I think he was getting angrier by the day and now did not know how to deal with the flight.
How to express that, yes.
With somebody who's been a flight to pull her back. And he realized he's not able to pull her back because she had outgrown. So she had outgrown, and now he realized, can he be able to live with this outgrown girl? Will he be able to live with his friends and relatives? Will he be able to reconcile with his own mind of medievalism? I think he agitated, said, let's get rid of my confusion. She got rid of the daughter whom he loved so much, and now says, okay, punish me now. See, he's rationalizing. I think he's rationalizing what he did. He
rationalizing.
That he couldn't. So I think he's rationalizing it. To be at peace now, at peace with himself.
With himself, absolutely. I think that's a very important point, a crucial point that you've brought in here. And in fact, it is Radhika's best friend today who's also come out to say that this was in the plans. It was not a heat of the moment action that was taken by the father, but something that had been in the plan. So I think you very rightly mentioned that the anger was just building up within him and it just burst out. But you know, Dr. Bedi, who would you say really failed Radhika today? Is it her father solely to blame? Or if we look at it purely as a crime scene, yes. But if we zoom out, shouldn't we be asking some hard questions of our society too? As you've been saying, yes, the society here too is to be looked at.
I would first blame the family. The same family of which she's a product of, and the same family, there's a brother also. There's a brother. What role is he playing? Is he an onlooker?
It's being said if the brother would have been in the house, he would have saved her.
No, there's a build-up. There's a build-up. Why isn't the son, has he been counseling the father? He could have been a controlling factor. He could have said, Papa, aise hota hai. Papa, ye hota hai. Ye dekho, main bhi. Is he controlling his son? So I think the mother is not playing. I don't know. I may be wrong still. The investigation.
There are questions, that still remain unanswered. Absolutely.
So what role is the father playing? Sorry, the mother. What role is? I think the first issue is she's a product of her father. She's not a product of the society. It's just people didn't put her to the tennis court. It is the father who put her to the tennis court, and the mother has obviously supported her. Brother is also part of the. I think I would not put the blame I would begin with the family, and family which has allowed itself to be a sponge and to absorb the negativity of outside. While they were into positivity of making her a champion, they were a sponge and they were soaking in soaking in the medievalism and patriarchalism and getting under control.
Right. And Dr. Bedi, finally, I would, since you yourself are such an icon, and to women, not just in India and across the world, as I started this entire conversation with, I would want you to leave us with a final message. Firstly, to the women who are fighting for their place, their voice and their safety. But more importantly, your message to families like this in the society that still continue to exist. To those who stay silent out of convenience, and to those who are so consumed by a shallow idea of honor that they are willing to destroy the very lives that they once nurtured themselves.
Look, if the girls are getting that kind of exposure, visibility, education, skill, they need to be clear in their mind. Are they getting supported now with the changed circumstances? Let them do their best to make the parents understand, family understand where are they to go. After all, they are outliving their parents. They will be outliving them. So if they succeed in making them see reason and understand and not feel threatened, not feel insecure and feel threatened, I think it's very important. But if they do not succeed, it's very, very important for them to take a call on what do they want in their life. Would they like to lead confused lives which are always in conflict? Or would they like to take the plunge and be courageous? I think courage is important. Decision-making and courage is the first product of good education. And if good education doesn't give you courage, risk-taking and courage, and also the power of negotiations, the art of negotiations, I think your education is still incomplete.
I think that is a very good note to leave this conversation at. And thank you so much, Dr. Kiran Bedi, for joining us on India Today, and in fact, not just decoding what exactly is going on in society, but also to help us understand the mindset that we are still trapped in, and unfortunately this very family was still trapped in, for which we ended up losing a star like Radhika. Thank you so much.
Thank you.